Hi, I'm Evander Smart, your professor here at the U, and I want to thank you so much for stopping by Bitcoin University's campus and taking advantage of this free Bitcoin class here at Bitcoin University. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go over how Bitcoin became the greatest investment of the 21st century. So I have my trusty clicker here, so if you hear a little clicking noise, that's what we're doing. And I want to thank you again for being here. Now let's go over what we will cover during the course of today's special Bitcoin class here at the U. So what will we go over today in today's Bitcoin class? Well, first, who am I? Should I be the one to teach you anything about the world of Bitcoin? So we're going to go over my qualifications and my history inside of Bitcoin and how I got started many years ago. We'll also go over some facts about how Bitcoin works for over 190 million people worldwide, people just like you. And who is using Bitcoin today? You'll be surprised at the big names, corporations, brands, even governments who are starting to use Bitcoin's amazing innovative technology. And who is making their own versions of Bitcoin for you to use. Now, maybe over the years you've heard the term buy gold or buy silver. Well, today we're going to go over why Bitcoin is by far the best investment of the year and for many years to come. And why the top investors in the world are investing in Bitcoin right now. And you'll discover how it's the perfect time to make an investment of a lifetime and how Bitcoin University can help you get started quickly and easily. So without any further ado, let's get to this very powerful and very valuable Bitcoin information here at the U. Okay, so first things first, who am I? Am I qualified to teach you anything about the world of Bitcoin? Well, let me tell you my personal Bitcoin story. As a young boy growing up in New York City, I wanted to learn more about the world of money. You know what they say, money makes the world go round. And in my family, it didn't go around fast enough. We were a very, very poor family. And a lot of times if I wanted something, I would ask my parents for money. They say we don't have the money. So I wanted to learn how this money thing worked. So I decided that when I grew up, I wanted to become a banker because bankers seem to know a lot about money. They seem to have access to a whole lot of money. So with that in mind, I grew up and yes, I did actually become a banker, and I worked at one of the world's largest banking firms in New York City from 2008 to 2011. So I did reach my financial goal, and I did learn a lot about the world of money in my time on Wall Street. However, in my time working as a banker, I couldn't find true happiness and was always thinking that banking could be so much better. So I left the bank in the summer of 2011 after almost 4 years at the bank. I just wasn't happy. I knew that I was on the wrong side of history, just being a money changer at the bank. I was looking for something what I did not know. Now, 2 years later, I discovered Bitcoin in the spring of 2013. I was watching a cable news investment show and they had this breaking news story, economic collapse in Cyprus. Now, I'm like, what is a Cyprus? Well, Cyprus is an island nation in the Mediterranean Sea in the European Union, and it's very close to countries like Turkey, Lebanon, Israel, and Greece. And this was site of the world's first economic bail-in. Now, if you're in the United States, you've probably heard of the term bail-out. Well, this is a bail-in. How the bail-in worked was if you had over $100,000 held in the banks in Cyprus, you were subject to what was known as a haircut. So anything over $100,000 could be seized by the bank in order to recapitalize itself. So a lot of depositors started to move their money into this thing called Bitcoin in order to protect their wealth. So the people affected in Cyprus didn't run to gold, they didn't run to silver, they moved to Bitcoin as an economic safe haven. And this is the first time in the world's history that we basically went to Bitcoin as a safe haven, and it worked out very well for the people in Cyprus. Bitcoin rose from just $20 in value to over $200, a 10x growth in a matter of just a few weeks from February to March of 2013. So I watched this story and I'm like, this must be what I have been looking for. So I spent the rest of the year 2013 learning more about the world of Bitcoin. Now, this is the first time that Bitcoin was used as a safe haven, but it is not the last time. This has happened several times over the course of the last 10 years. Bitcoin was used a couple of years later in Cyprus's neighbor, Greece, where we had Grexit. In the summer of 2015, the ATMs started to run out of money. The banks started to close in Greece as Greece looks to move out of the European Union. And the people in Greece start to do what their neighbors in Cyprus did. They start to move their money into Bitcoin. Bitcoin values surge in 2015 in the summer as Greece goes through Grexit. And then the next year, we have Brexit, where Great Britain looks to move out of the European Union, and the British pound falls to 30-year lows, and people start to move their money out of British pounds and into Bitcoin. Bitcoin values grow. Even during the election of Donald Trump in the United States in November of 2016, Bitcoin again is used as a safe haven, and those who made a deposit early on, just before the election, they made about 5% on their money just on election day alone. So in the 21st century, Bitcoin, not gold, not silver, not stocks, not bonds, but Bitcoin has been the world's leading economic safe haven. So starting in 2014, I wrote many blogs about Bitcoin. I worked as an online blogger, news writer, and journalist. And I started getting paid in Bitcoin to write hundreds of articles for Bitcoin online news sites like CryptoCoins News, Cointelegraph, Bitcoin.com. So this was not something I was doing on the side. This was my life. I worked full-time as a Bitcoin news writer, and I got paid in Bitcoin for all of my work. So I would get paid $20 for this article, $25 for that article. I would get paid on shares and how many views it received and so on. And this is what I did for the next 4 years. Now, I've also been tested and certified as a Bitcoin professional since 2015 by the Digital Currency Council, or the DCC. So you can see my badge here. And I've also been tested and certified as a blockchain expert in 2018 by the Blockchain Council. So many people consider me a Bitcoin and a blockchain expert. So you may have seen a mainstream reporter say, I lived on Bitcoin for a week, or I traveled around the world on Bitcoin. Well, I've walked the walk for much longer than that. I've been inside of Bitcoin for over 10 years, more than half of Bitcoin's life. And what I have discovered is that I'm on the right side of history. Now, what I've discovered is that I'm also not going back to Wall Street. I believe I found a better way forward economically here with Bitcoin. Now, hopefully you can join me and over 190 million others around the world and experience the difference a Bitcoin can make for yourself. The point is, I'm here to teach you about Bitcoin, to share this amazing technology with you and with the world here at Bitcoin University. Bitcoin is not here just to enrich my life, it is here for you as well. So enough about me, let's get to the star of the show, which is Bitcoin. Now, if you search for Bitcoin or search for Bitcoin's white paper, eventually you will run into a PDF file, which is penned by Satoshi Nakamoto, founder and creator of Bitcoin, back in October of 2008. And he goes over what a Bitcoin is, more or less in technical terms. Now, once you get past the first couple of paragraphs, it is going to become very technical, so unless you're a coder or a developer, you may not understand it. But all you really need to understand is the very first sentence, the mission statement of Bitcoin, and here it is. Bitcoin is a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. This is revolutionary. Think about it. Every financial transaction you ever made, it was either a cash transaction or you had to pay a third party to make the transaction for you. So think about credit cards, think about checks, think about Western Union, think about PayPal. All of these have intermediaries, they have third parties, and they have fees attached to those transactions. So unless you're using cash and you're handing cash to someone, you are paying a fee, you are going through terms of service, using a third party to make these transactions for you. Bitcoin now allows you to make your own payments at hundreds of thousands of retailers, both online and offline around the world. Here are some examples. Bitcoin has already been used or held by some of the greatest brands in the world, including Wikipedia, Dell Computers, PayPal, Starbucks, Dish Network, and Microsoft has been accepting Bitcoin for payments since December of 2014. And some of the world's wealthiest investors have also invested in Bitcoin, including Sir Richard Branson of Virgin Atlantic, Jack Dorsey of Twitter, and Elon Musk of Tesla. Now, Bitcoin is the world's first global decentralized digital asset. Now, I've been in the Bitcoin space for 10 years now, and it is still hard to describe what a Bitcoin is. But here at Bitcoin University, we can give you more information. Bitcoin is a new digital asset and a global economic system. The best way to describe Bitcoin is it's a financial version of the internet. So if you like the internet, you are going to love Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin started as a white paper on October 31st, 2008, and it went live on January 3rd of 2009. Bitcoin works extremely well, performing over 600 million transactions. Now, these 600 plus million transactions have all occurred without fail. There are no fake Bitcoins, there are no counterfeit Bitcoins, there is no downtime inside of Bitcoin. No Bitcoin transactions require a central bank, a governor, a president, or any government body to transmit economic value worldwide. Do you know another network that operates like that? Yes, you do. We call that network the internet. Now, you have a smartphone, right? You may have a smart TV, or you may have even heard of a smart city. Well, Bitcoin is the world's first smart money. It simply does things money has never done before, and it does them faster and cheaper than any other option. The far better question may be, what isn't a Bitcoin? A Bitcoin can be a stock or a bond. A Bitcoin can be a savings account or a personal bank. A Bitcoin can be a currency or a store of value. A Bitcoin can also be the investment of a lifetime, and for many people, it has been. Again, much like the internet it was modeled after, a Bitcoin can be almost anything you want it to be. Bitcoin is simply this: the building of an online global economy that doesn't need banks or governments to be trusted, and is more transparent and more trustworthy than banks or governments. With its open source code, miners and nodes, Bitcoin has the checks and balances to govern itself perfectly and transparently, unlike previous economic systems. And anyone who obtains Bitcoins isn't relegated to being a mere consumer. You are now a shareholder, a partial owner of the economy, whose shares will gain value over time. According to the US tax code, a Bitcoin is property, even though you cannot touch it or hold it in your hand. The fact of the matter is, Bitcoin is simply too advanced and too complex for any mere regulator in an office somewhere to accurately decide what a Bitcoin is or isn't. Regulating Bitcoin is a lot like trying to regulate the internet, right? And Bitcoin is encrypted technology. This means Bitcoins are sent online in a virtual safe and can be opened by their intended recipient and only by their intended recipient. Privacy attacks, identity theft, and fees from third-party intermediaries like Visa and PayPal, and waiting for days for your transactions to clear, like with wire transfers and with Western Union, are now a part of human history thanks to Bitcoin. This is a very simple and non-technical explanation of what a Bitcoin is. I'm not a tech-savvy person, and maybe you are not either. The point is, Bitcoin is basically a financial version of the internet. Bitcoin does for money what the internet did for information a generation ago. Bitcoin is far more advanced than dollars or credit cards. Bitcoin is much faster than wire transfers or PayPal. And Bitcoin is much more valuable than a gold coin. The Federal Reserve, in over 100 years, has never been audited once. But Bitcoin gets audited every 10 minutes by thousands of nodes all over the world and even in outer space. Bitcoin is truly the future of money. Now, if you wonder why money can't be done faster and better on your smartphone, then Bitcoin was made for you. If you are over the age of 30, own a home, and you are looking to pay off that house in 5 to 10 years, not 25 to 30 years, then Bitcoin might be for you. If you're closing in on retirement and you just aren't sure that your savings or your Social Security are enough to secure your future, Bitcoin may be for you. Think of Bitcoin as a financial app on the internet, like Instagram is a mobile app on your phone. The difference is Bitcoin is the app you must have for your financial future. And today, here at Bitcoin University, you will learn why. Now, the second way you know Bitcoin is legitimate is its transparency. Bitcoin is extremely transparent due to its open source code, so it is like a digital open book. Bitcoin is changing the world because it does not hide its working parts, the fees, the history, the ledgers, unlike previous economic systems around the world. Don't worry, you can use Bitcoin safely because your identity is never tied to any Bitcoin transaction, unlike debit cards, for example. You can use Bitcoin safely because your identity is never tied to any Bitcoin transaction directly, unlike debit cards. We've seen the news stories where companies like Target, Chase, and Home Depot have been hit by hackers and have been subject to identity theft, and millions of people's personal financial information has been lost due to security breaches. Things like this do not happen inside of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is much like sending an email, only you're sending Bitcoins, which represent economic value. Okay, so why should you care about Bitcoin or digital currencies or any of this new technology? Well, the mainstream media seems to care an awful lot about Bitcoin all of a sudden when it's beating the street with ease, as stories in the New York Times, the Financial Times of London, and the Wall Street Journal have gone over for years. Bitcoin has simply been the best investment of the decade. Bitcoin's currency and digital technologies are a big part of your future, whether you know it or not. Let me explain. The companies that you use, the bank that you use, even the nation that you live in, they are all studying how to use Bitcoin, its blockchain technology, or creating their own versions of Bitcoin for you to start using. Here are some examples of Bitcoin's technology entering into the mainstream. We have the Bakkt Corporation, BAKKT. This was launched in 2020, and it was created by the Intercontinental Exchange, which owns the New York Stock Exchange, Starbucks, and Microsoft. And its goal is to create a global platform for the trading of digital assets, including Bitcoin. So basically, this is an exchange for the institutional and the accredited investor to trade Bitcoin and other valuable digital assets. Also, IBM, back in 2015, this was reported by Reuters, was looking at using Bitcoin's underlying technology to create a digital dollar for the US. So they actually sat down with the Federal Reserve back in 2015 and started working on a digital dollar using Bitcoin's technology. And on April 1st, 2017, no April Foolin', Japan officially accepted Bitcoin as a form of national payment. What does this mean? Well, that means in the great nation of Japan, you can pay your rent, you can pay your light bill, or you can even pay your taxes using Bitcoin. Now we have nations like El Salvador and the Central African Republic that have now adopted Bitcoin as legal tender throughout the nation. In El Salvador, more than half of the population has already received Bitcoin, has been given a Bitcoin wallet with $30 worth of Bitcoin inside. So Bitcoin has become a national phenomenon in a couple of nations already. And America's largest phone company, AT&T, now accepts Bitcoin for payments since 2019 due to consumer demand. Microsoft is also building on its partnership with Bitcoin. They've already been accepting Bitcoin for payments since 2014, and they have launched a decentralized identity tool on top of Bitcoin's global blockchain. And Elon Musk and Tesla have announced that they have bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin in 2021. And nations around the world are starting to move to their own digital currency systems, including Sweden, Ukraine, Ecuador, and the nation of Japan. And in the United States, Congress has already stated that they are making plans to run tests on the use of a digital US dollar. It is less a matter of if the US uses a fully digital economy, it's just a matter of when this will happen. And when this happens, would you be ready for what happens next? Think about it. My point here is the handwriting is on the wall. You will be using a digital currency in the not too distant future. The only question is, which one will you choose? A centralized national digital currency system or a decentralized global economic system like Bitcoin? My suggestion to you is choose your digital asset wisely, because if you make the wrong choice, you may get a lot more than you bargained for. Now let's compare Bitcoin to one of the leaders in monetary transfer. Western Union has been the world's leading money transfer agent for over 150 years now. They've been trading since the 1860s. Now let's compare Western Union to Bitcoin, and let's see how both would handle the same transaction. Now with Western Union, you probably used them before. You have to travel to a local office. This may take you a few minutes. They may be a few miles away. You have to get there before they close. they're usually not open 24 hours a day. You'll have to stand online for a few minutes for assistance. And you'll have to pay the fees. Now the fees are generally going to be $10 up to about $500 sent. But once you pass $500, the fees can skyrocket dramatically. And generally you're paying 8 to 10% of the value of a transaction. So for example, I have personally seen this. I've seen people try to send $1,500 using Western Union, and this is domestically within the United States, and they would pay a fee of about $140 for that transaction. You'll also need identification to use Western Union, so you'll need to make a copy of that. You'll need to keep that on file. And the person receiving these funds through Western Union will have to do all of these things as well, except pay the fee. So they'll have to travel to the office, get there before it closes, stand in line, and present identification. And all of this will take some time. It generally takes 1 to 2 hours for the Western Union transaction to go through. This is assuming that Western Union does process your transaction. There are terms of service. They do not have to put through your financial transaction, and thousands of transactions in Western Union are never processed. Now let's see how Bitcoin would handle a similar transaction. With Bitcoin, you don't have to travel anywhere. You can send Bitcoins right from your smartphone, tablet, laptop, desktop, anywhere you have an internet connection. You don't have to deal with anyone's office hours. You can send Bitcoins 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to stand on anyone's lines. You don't have to pay the high fees that Western Union users have to pay. With Bitcoin right now, you're paying about 50 cents per transaction. So in other words, it's about 20 times more expensive to use Western Union to send money than it is to use Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, there's no identification required, and the person receiving the Bitcoin, all they have to do is have a Bitcoin address. That's it. It's a lot like sending an email, and they'll receive the Bitcoins in a matter of seconds, and it'll be confirmed on Bitcoin's global blockchain in a matter of minutes. So you tell me, in the 21st century, which is the better way to send money, Western Union or Bitcoin? Now, on top of being an outstanding way to send money, there are a bunch of technological advancements that are making Bitcoin even more convenient to use, and they include the Lightning Network. Only with Bitcoin can you move money at the speed of light for less than a penny. So that's what Lightning Network users get when you enter Bitcoin. So with Visa, for example, they can put through a maximum of 50,000 transactions per second on their network. Bitcoin can only do 7, but Bitcoin with the Lightning Network can put over 1 million transactions per second and at a much lower cost than even Bitcoin or Visa. So Bitcoin with the Lightning Network is another technological advancement that only Bitcoin can provide. Now, many people see many things when it comes to Bitcoin. Do you see what I see? Well, Elon Musk sees what I see. Let me explain. Elon Musk may be the greatest mind of our time, does have some history and some opinion when it comes to using Bitcoin. In a recent interview, Elon Musk said about Bitcoin, "Bitcoin is quite brilliant. Crypto is certainly a better way to transfer value than pieces of paper, that's for sure," said Elon Musk, founder of PayPal, owner of SpaceX, owner of Tesla Motors, and yes, he's also been an owner of Bitcoin. So let's look at Bitcoin as an investment. That's probably how you heard about Bitcoin in the first place, right? Now, I'm not here to promise you any returns or to be your financial advisor. What I can do is prove to you that amazing things are possible when you use Bitcoin, and even can be charted to happen on a regular basis. Now, is Bitcoin a smart investment? Let's start there. Let's start with comparing Bitcoin to some of the most popular, most recommended investments of all time. Let's start with comparing Bitcoin to the precious metals markets of gold and silver. Which has been the better investment over the years? Gold, silver, or Bitcoin? Well, let's take a look at it. Let's start off with everyone's most favored, most recommended investment. Let's start off with gold. Now, over the last 4 years, gold has been on quite a run. Over the last 4 years, gold is up about 46%. Now, in other words, if you would put $100,000 into gold 4 years ago, today you would have about $146,000. Now, let's look at silver. Silver moves even better than gold, and over the last 4 years, it has gone up about 63%. So in other words, if you would put $100,000 into silver 4 years ago, today you'd have about $163,000. Now let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin 4 years ago was trading for just $3,294. But over the last 4 years, Bitcoin has grown in value over 429% and now regularly trades for $17,000 to $20,000 US dollars. In other words, if you had invested $100,000 into Bitcoin 4 years ago, today you would have over $529,000. So in conclusion, in the last 4 years, gold has been up 46%, silver has been up 63%, Bitcoin has gone up 429%. In fact, Bank of America recently said that Bitcoin was simply the investment of the decade, as reported by CNN Business. Why did they say that? Well, Bitcoin investing has made its owners over 90,000% return on investment since 2010. Now, this is for the decade from 2010 to 2019. Keep in mind, this article was written at the end of 2019. In other words, if you had invested just $1 into Bitcoin back in 2010, you would have over $90,000 in your account 10 years later. Over the last 10 years, from 2013 through 2022, Bitcoin has been simply the world's best investment, growing 1,248x, from $13 to over $17,000 at the end of 2022. So to give you some perspective, Tesla was the second best investment, rising at about 90x. So if you plan to be around for another 10 years, Bitcoin seems like a pretty wise investment. Now, people like to make the excuse, I can't make enough money because of the economy. Now, name a worse economy than the pandemic. Were there two things that consistently made money during the pandemic? Yes, there were. Tesla stock and Bitcoin. If Bitcoin performs like this when times are bad, imagine how well Bitcoin's going to perform in the future when times recover. And Bitcoin is up another 60%, up $10,000 in the first quarter of 2023. So the Bitcoin bull run has already begun. Now, why is that? Because Bitcoin has economic cycles, just like the Olympics, just like politics. Every 4 years, Bitcoin has a bear market, or a market correction of 1 year, followed by 3 years of growth. So these 3 years of economic growth, they start right now in 2023. Now, are you ready for a better investment? How about a better retirement plan? If you're in your 50s and approaching retirement, or if you're in your 30s and 40s and are still getting a retirement plan together, shouldn't something as powerful, something as proven as Bitcoin, be a part of your retirement plan? Here's a key point to keep in mind about Bitcoin. You can start off with whatever amount of Bitcoin you want. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin to get started. If Bitcoin is now worth $30,000 or more, is it too expensive for you to buy now? No, Bitcoin does not work that way. You can buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, or $1,000 worth, or buy a little every month. However you want to do it, that's not what's most important. What is most important is that you get started now, not later, before the price rises. Again, using the last 4 years as an example, if you had put just $2,000 into Bitcoin 4 years ago, today you would have over $10,000. So it's not a matter of the amount that you invest, it's what you invest in that counts. Now, every 4 years, the Bitcoin protocol goes through what is known as the halvening, or the Bitcoin halving event. In it, Bitcoin supply is reduced by half going forward. Before May of 2020, there were 12.5 Bitcoin produced every 10 minutes. But starting in May of 2020, that number was reduced by half to 6.25 Bitcoin. Why is this important? Because of the most basic economic principle in finance, supply and demand. Bitcoin supply was cut in half, but Bitcoin demand is growing each and every year. So what happens when supply is cut in half, but demand continues to grow? Well, these changes in supply create cycles in the market. After 18 months after an halving event, Bitcoin value peaks followed by a market correction. So Bitcoin is very predictable in its unpredictability. Hey, why don't I show you how it works with a real-life example from my personal experience? Would you like that? Well, I'm going to show you how people have become millionaires using Bitcoin. Well, this is how it usually happens. Allow me to take you back in time. It is now July of 2016. This is back when a Bitcoin was only about $650 US. Now, I've been talking to someone, we'll call her Annie, about getting involved in Bitcoin for almost 2 years. And Annie had blown me off about Bitcoin for about 2 years. Annie knew I was heavy into Bitcoin, but wanted someone else that she trusted to back up what I was saying. Annie didn't tell me that, but that was the case. Okay, no problem. Well, one of Annie's favorite TV talking head investment gurus started saying that buying Bitcoin would be a wise move. So the next time I spoke to Annie, she said, "So when are you going to get me started in this Bitcoin? I'm ready to go." Next time I was in town, I made sure I held Annie's hand and got her the wallet, the exchange, and all the help that she needed to start off right. I even created an in-person meeting with someone from the Bitcoin exchange to walk her through the purchasing process. Annie, in fact, had a nice nest egg available to invest approximately $250,000. Now, since Annie was someone I care about and it's not my money to invest, I suggested a small position just to get a feel for the market. I wouldn't tell Annie, you, or anyone to bet everything they had on any one investment, be it gold, Bitcoin, or anything. I said try it for the rest of the year. Take it slow and see how it goes. And at the end of the year, reassess your Bitcoin position. To paraphrase the response I got back from her, it was something to the effect of go big or go home. Annie put $200,000 into Bitcoin. To say this worked out in Annie's favor would be an understatement. That $200,000 investment in July of 2016 turned into over $6 million by December of 2017. Annie deserves major credit because she didn't sell her investment at the first 10% dip in the market. She had some crust to her. The keys to becoming a millionaire in the Bitcoin space are market timing, meaning market conditions, mental strength, and the ability to take action. The best part about this is the timing. The market conditions back in 2016 and 2017, well, those market conditions are back in effect for 2023, right here, right now. Bitcoin prices are low, so think of Bitcoin as being on sale. When do you buy more of your favorite items at the store? When prices are high or when prices are low? Maybe you're saying, how does this help me? I don't have $200,000 to invest. Fair enough. You might not have $200,000, but you also wouldn't be here without something to invest. Let's say you had invested just $33,000, not $200,000 back in 2016. By December of 2017, you would have had $1 million in your returns. So the point is, we've seen this movie 3 times before. There have been halvings in 2012, 2016, and 2020. And we know how this movie ends. Okay, maybe you don't have $33,000 to invest today or even want to become a Bitcoin millionaire. If you had invested just $3,300, not $200,000 back in 2016, by December of 2017, you would have had $100,000. Now that $100,000 would be enough to get you into the new house or new car that you've always dreamed of, right? Or if you were really smart, you would invest in more Bitcoins. Now, many of the top investment firms in the world are betting big on Bitcoin these days. These include companies like Bank of America, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Goldman Sachs, and others. These top investors are becoming custodians, fiduciaries, buying exchanges, and starting companies around the transfer of assets and digital currencies. Why is so much money moving into Bitcoin at this time? Besides the amazing return on investment, you get an asset that doesn't run on debt. It benefits from inflation. It can travel at the speed of light. It can't be stolen from you, and you can use it anywhere, anytime for just a few pennies. But don't just take my word for it. Plenty of top investment minds agree that a Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot of money in the future. Savvy investors follow the money. Like Elon Musk, who has already purchased $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategies already owns over 140,000 Bitcoins and has invested $3.5 billion. And Jim Cramer says it's possible that Bitcoin someday could reach $1 million each. Wences Caceres is on PayPal's board of directors, and he says the biggest mistake is to not own any Bitcoin. He recommends you put 1% of your net worth into Bitcoin and forget about it for about 10 years, because he predicts that in those 10 years, Bitcoin will be worth $1 million each. So I believe I've shown you how Bitcoin is a legitimate investment, why you should care about Bitcoin and the coming world of digital currencies. why you should even start to use Bitcoin as one of your personal preferred currencies. Also remember that the use of Bitcoin as a currency is just Bitcoin's first application. This is not all that a Bitcoin will become. This is just chapter 1 of a book that will continue to change the world. Again, remember, we've seen this movie before with the internet. The internet started out as basically an email service. We had AOL, CompuServe, and Netscape. They were basically trading emails. Email was the first app inside of the internet. And now look how big and how powerful the internet has become and has so many applications tied to it. Bitcoin will evolve in a similar fashion. Bitcoin has basically created a new digital asset investment class. This is great for diversifying your investment portfolio, minimizing risk, and maximizing gains. Just investing 5 to 10% of your investment portfolio into high-yield investments like Bitcoin can have an amazing effect on your retirement. And while we're here talking about making wise investments, have you ever heard of the term compound interest? Ever wonder how that works? Oh, it works, just not how you would think. You can't just go to Fidelity or Vanguard and state, I want your finest compound interest investment. That's not how it works. Compound interest is really the art and science of making your money work harder for you in investments that continue to grow over time. Take investing in gold, for example. If you put $1,000 into gold 10 years ago, today you would have about $1,100. Money in gold can't compound because gold isn't a good enough investment to make your money work hard for you. Bitcoin, on the other hand, works harder than any other investment in history. It is simply the best investment over the last 10 years. So a $1,000 investment in Bitcoin 10 years ago would have netted you 75 Bitcoin. Those 75 Bitcoin will be worth $1.3 million minus your $1,000 initial investment today. Where the compounding took place was the initial $1,000 made 300% return on investment in year 1. Then that 300% return on investment, provided you were smart enough to leave and let the investment work and leave it alone, made 777% the next year. And then that 770%, if you left it alone to work for you, made 1,403% the next year in 2014, and so on. Compound interest is the concept where you let your investment, your return on investment, and your risk tolerance combine to compound over time. It is the act of your return on investment making its own return on investment, and it snowballs year after year or compounds. The catch is 99% of the investments offered by your financial advisor at your local bank don't compound very well, or are so insignificant and take so many years it's not worth the trouble. Bitcoin is not an investment being offered by your financial advisor. Bitcoin is that 1% of all investments. Now, one more thing I want to go over is how Bitcoin helps those in third world countries survive during economic collapse. Bitcoin is far more than just another investment vehicle. This New York Times op-ed article refers to the hyperinflation in Venezuela in 2018 and how it has affected the people. Now, things got so bad in Venezuela that people were killing and eating the animals in the zoo. Bitcoin mining and trading has saved thousands of people who could not get food at the store, whose money was now so worthless they couldn't get gas into their car. The way things were going, this could very easily happen in the West in the years to come. So what would you do if your currency became so worthless you couldn't get gas or you couldn't get food? What would be your backup option? Bitcoin is helping the common man just live day to day in many nations around the world. Not that the mainstream media would tell you about that. There are a lot of powerful people who don't want you to know the truth and want you to remain exactly where you are in their system and totally dependent on banks and government. Think about it. Bitcoin is the greatest invention of the 21st century because it's more than a mere financial investment. It empowers the powerless. It helps those who need help. Bitcoin changes the world. Gold was the greatest investment vehicle of the 19th century. Real estate was the greatest investment vehicle of the 20th century. Bitcoin is the greatest investment vehicle of the 21st century. I think you are ready to take advantage of this special opportunity. Now, maybe you're saying, hey, this all sounds pretty good, but how would I start using Bitcoin? I wouldn't even know where to start. Well, welcome to Bitcoin University. Thank you so much for being here. I've worked for the last 8 years to show you all that a Bitcoin can do for you here at the U. I think you'll like what I have to offer you today, but here are some basics you should understand before entering Bitcoin University. Here at Bitcoin University, I teach people how to get started using Bitcoin quickly and easily through my website, bitcoinuniversity.net. We provide you with the financial education you need for the new global digital economy we are heading into. The financial world is changing. Are you ready for it? When the US converts to a digital US dollar, as many nations are doing so as we speak, are you ready for that? What would you do? Bitcoin University gets you ready for the future. Bitcoin University has created the ultimate in Bitcoin education training for 2023 and beyond. If you need an answer for why, how, and where to use Bitcoin, you now have the best online resource for all of your Bitcoin needs. Now, the top investors in the world all remember one thing. They don't invest in what they don't understand, said Alex Becker, author of The 10 Pillars of Wealth and CEO and founder of Market Hero. Don't invest in what you don't understand, says Tai Lopez, millionaire investor, partner, and advisor in many companies. And don't invest in what you don't understand, said Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He has made it very clear that he does not understand Bitcoin, so he does not invest in what he doesn't understand. So take the time to understand, to overstand Bitcoin before investing your hard-earned money. Okay, Evander, so how much will a Bitcoin University education cost me? Well, people are willing to pay $2,500 to $3,000 on a complete education in a financial investment product like Bitcoin. I have been to these webinars and presentations and have seen others offering Bitcoin services charging at least this much. For a year's worth of service, they'll start at $3,000 and discount it to $2,500. So this is the going rate, $2,500 to $3,000 per year for Bitcoin education services. Now, Sam Ovens is a world-renowned consultant trainer. He teaches people how to become consultants in their market niche. And I trained under him. And he told me I should charge $5,000 per month per client and start a digital currency consultant agency. Not a bad idea, right? However, I will not ask you for $2,500 a year or $5,000 a month to be your Bitcoin digital currency consultant or to start using Bitcoin today. I have been building Bitcoin University for 8 years now, taking everything that I've learned and have been making videos and writing books to teach you how to get started using Bitcoin fast here at Bitcoin University. I wish I had something like Bitcoin University when I got started way back in 2013. Here's what people who use Bitcoin University have to say about the U after enrolling.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Josh, just here to give you a little information on Bitcoin University. And what can I say? It's top notch, you know. The videos are very informative, very knowledgeable. You will learn fast and you will learn what you would need to know. Even if you're already into Bitcoin and you just need a little bit more information, Bitcoin University would be the way to go. I would definitely recommend to anyone new trying to get into Bitcoin or trying to learn a little bit more about Bitcoin, Bitcoin University is the way to go.
Hi, my name is Mike. I just took some time to review the website for Bitcoin University, and I think it's absolutely fabulous. I wish it would have existed several years ago so that I could have really taken advantage of all the information then. I would definitely recommend this brand to others as I believe in the content, and I think that anybody could take advantage of the lessons presented here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jean, and I would like to tell you about Bitcoin University. The content is easy to understand, and it's helpful to new Bitcoin users like myself. But I love the language. There's nothing that's hard to navigate. I would recommend Bitcoin University to my friends and family. They're the masters and they're the ones to try.
Also, there was just the right amount of information. When I'm coming to a website, I don't want to be bombarded and feel like I'm overwhelmed. It's too much to look through and then I'll just put it aside. I don't even want to deal with it. So for me, this just had enough information to get me interested and want to learn more. I'm a complete newbie when it comes to Bitcoin, so there's sometimes questions that I want to ask, but I feel kind of embarrassed asking. They kind of seem like stupid questions maybe to me. But I like that the beginner questions, really, that's probably what I would call it, were listed there. So I felt like, okay, they want to help me learn more and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. So for all of these reasons, I would 10 out of 10 recommend Bitcoin University to my family and friends. In fact, I'm probably going to do so this week.
And Mark Womack in Fort Worth, Texas says, where does one start? Here is where to learn Bitcoin. From easy to understand video libraries, you can go as deep into the space as you want and truly gain real insight and practical knowledge. With knowledge, you'll have a roadmap into and through this ecosystem. Great job, Evander. Now, what I want you to understand is Bitcoin is here to help you in several ways, not just as an investment. It is simply the leading digital payment technology of the future. All future global payment technologies will integrate Bitcoin's technology. It's that good. Bitcoin was the greatest investment and the greatest invention of the 21st century when I discovered it way back in 2013. And guess what? It still is today. Here's one way to look at the future. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today, said Malcolm X. Are you prepared for the future of money? Bitcoin provides you, I, us, something we've never had before, a global money of our own. Not owned by the banks, not owned by the governments, not owned by corporations. It is owned by mathematics. In conclusion, I'd like to pass on to you a bit of wisdom from one of my favorite wise men, the late, great Steve Jobs of Apple. He once said, do you want to know how to get rich? Find out where the world will be in 10 years and get there first. Owning Bitcoin has many benefits. You own shares of a global, decentralized economic system. You are investing in an asset with a bright future and a growing user base. You will become just as savvy a financial investor as the top investors in the world, including names like MicroStrategy, BlackRock, PayPal, and Square. You are wisely trading depreciating assets, dollars, for appreciating assets, Bitcoins. Investing in Bitcoin is fun. Watching the value of your Bitcoin rise and rise month after month is very exciting. And you will learn about a new technology that you will be using in the future anyway. And you don't need a broker or a financial advisor. Becoming your own bank is amazing. Oh, and one more thing, being a Bitcoin investor is actually pretty easy. It's a two-step process. Buy Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin, rinse, and repeat. We just teach you how to do this easily and quickly and safely here at Bitcoin University. I think it's time that you experience the difference for yourself. You deserve something more. You deserve something better. So if you're looking for a mentor inside of the Bitcoin community to help you get started, invest in this education. I won't let you down. Now, you have made it to the end of this Bitcoin class for a reason. Now, if you're looking for a more detailed and complete Bitcoin blueprint, we have our complete education called the Bitcoin Owner's Manual. You see, here at Bitcoin University, we create Bitcoin training videos. Videos like how to buy your first Bitcoin, how Bitcoin owners save up to 45% on Amazon.com purchases. Now, be advised that Amazon does not accept Bitcoin for payments directly, but that doesn't mean you can't use Bitcoin to save on Amazon. I've seen people save 15%, 30%, up to 45% shopping on Amazon using Bitcoin. So before you shop on Amazon, check out this video by Bitcoin University. Also, you can watch me do a Bitcoin transaction. If you can copy and paste, you can do a Bitcoin transaction today. And you'll discover Bitcoin's biggest problem, how it affects brand new users just like you, and how to avoid it. How to use Bitcoin ATMs. You'll actually see me in Miami use a Bitcoin ATM, how to use it properly, what to look for, and how not to use a Bitcoin ATM. We'll also go into a deep dive on Bitcoin's blockchain technology, how Bitcoin changes the world again. So you will discover what a blockchain is, how it works in Bitcoin, why it will not work as well in the mainstream for other applications, and how you will be using Bitcoin's blockchain technology without even knowing it. We'll also go over Bitcoin taxation, what to expect when the tax man cometh. So you will learn things like the amount of percentages on your tax rate, but also you'll get a list of Bitcoin certified tax consultants who can help you, at least in the United States, when the tax man cometh. Also, we have a special video, Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Would you like a Tesla or a Mercedes? I love luxury cars, And what we're going to do is we're going to compare the two cars. We're going to compare the Tesla Model S to the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Bitcoin will be represented by the Tesla. The US dollar will be represented by the Mercedes. So we're going to compare the two cars. We'll be able to compare the two economic systems. And we'll decide in the 21st century which one may be right for you. We'll also go over why not to use Coinbase, the largest Bitcoin application inside of the Bitcoin economic system. Why top Bitcoin owners avoid using Coinbase. And the best Bitcoin advice anyone has ever received. Every time I use this advice, I make money using Bitcoin. Every time I do not use this advice, I lose money using Bitcoin. So do not get started with Bitcoin before getting the best Bitcoin advice anyone has ever received. And where do I go from here getting started fast with Bitcoin? This is basically your Bitcoin quick start guide where I walk you through the Bitcoin community, the places you go, the people you should see, and how to hit the ground running using Bitcoin. All of the best places to hang out inside of the Bitcoin online community. Now this was just 10 Bitcoin University videos, but Bitcoin University has dozens more. Now Bitcoin University has over 80 videos in all. So there are a lot of great titles inside of Bitcoin University, the top 5 Bitcoin investment strategies, when should I buy, when should I sell Bitcoins. We go over Bitcoin wallets, how to hodl like a pro, how to shop using Bitcoins versus debit cards, and so on. Now many of you love watching videos to learn something new, while others would prefer to curl up with a good book. If this sounds like you, then use Bitcoin Owner's Manual to receive 3 exclusive bonuses from Bitcoin University. Our 3 best books are available to Bitcoin Owner Manual members. So let's start off with your first bonus in your Bitcoin University Owner's Manual membership. Brand new for 2023. Look at the Book of Bitcoin, The Future of Money Explained. Inside of the Book of Bitcoin, you will find the answers to Bitcoin's newest and biggest questions for 2023 and beyond. Questions like, what is a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, and how is it different than Bitcoin? What are the best ways to protect your Bitcoin? Isn't Bitcoin bad for the environment? How is Bitcoin price determined? Why don't banks just make a Bitcoin? Quantum computing can disrupt Bitcoin, right? Is Bitcoin money? How is Bitcoin like Tesla? Is Bitcoin going to replace the US dollar? And dozens more questions for 2023 and beyond are answered inside of the Book of Bitcoin. Next, take your Bitcoin knowledge to the next level with the Bitcoin Encyclopedia. This goes over many of the articles that I have written as a Bitcoin journalist in my years inside of Bitcoin. So basically all of the ways outside of using Bitcoin as an investment, all of the novel ways people are using Bitcoin. And you'll also receive the book Invest Like a Pro, 5 Winning Moves Every Top Digital Currency Investor Makes. These are things I do every day when I'm trading Bitcoin. How to use exchanges like a professional. Why hoarding Bitcoin and not using them is a bad idea. We go over Bitcoin taxes again and who can help you. What online networks and systems you should use to increase your Bitcoin security online. And we go over Bitcoin mindset adjustments to give you a winning mentality that will last you a lifetime. So get this valuable information from Bitcoin University when you upgrade to the Bitcoin University Owner's Manual. And you'll also get an extra bonus. You'll receive your Bitcoin University degree, certifying you as an official Bachelor of Bitcoin from Bitcoin University. So yes, you'll be able to print this out. You'll get some degree paper from your office supply store, and it'll fit on 8.5 by 11-inch paper. You can frame this, keep this in your office, and that'll be our gift to you, certifying you as a Bachelor of Bitcoin when you enter Bitcoin University's Owner's Manual. So Bitcoin Owner's Manual is 100% guaranteed to help you get started with Bitcoin the easiest way possible. If you are not satisfied with your Bitcoin education after 60 days, contact us for a full refund. So you have nothing to lose but the future of money to gain when you use Bitcoin Owner's Manual. So why not take the Bitcoin Owner's Manual out for a 60-day test drive? Use it for 60 days. If it does not help you get started using Bitcoin, get a full refund. Oh, and did I tell you that when you get the Bitcoin Owner's Manual, you will also get the Bitcoin University Masterclass included free of charge. So I want to thank you for your time, and I look forward to helping you reach your financial goals with an education from Bitcoin University. Thanks for being here. Take care. Hi, this is Evander Smart, your Bitcoin professor here at the U, and I'm recording this to add to our class that we just went over. It is actually January 2nd of 2024, so happy New Year to all of you watching. You're probably watching this a little bit into the future, but I just wanted to go over the state of Bitcoin here at the start of 2024, which will be Bitcoin's biggest year ever. As you can see, Bitcoin is currently trading for over $45,000 US. To give you some perspective, 1 year ago today, Bitcoin was trading for about $16,500. So what does that mean? That means last year, in 2023, Bitcoin grew over 150%. And that is just the beginning of what a Bitcoin can do. That is actually a relatively slow year here in Bitcoin. So again, Bitcoin is trading over $45,000 per Bitcoin. Now keep in mind, you don't have to have $45,000 to invest in Bitcoin. You can invest $100. You can invest $1,000. You can dollar cost average. You can have Bitcoin taken out of your paycheck. There's a lot of ways to get started using Bitcoin. The point here is you want to get in at the lowest possible cost basis. You want to buy Bitcoins at a lower price, not a higher price. And I am here to let you know that last year, when it was trading at $16,000, I predicted by the end of 2023, by this time, it would be moving up to about $30,000 to $40,000, and it did slightly exceed my expectations for 2023, growing over 150%. Here, for 2024, I expect it to grow to about $200,000 per Bitcoin by the end of 2024. So that would be a 300% plus rate of return in just 1 year. You cannot do that anywhere else in real estate, stocks, bonds, equities, brokerage. It doesn't matter what you invest in. Bitcoin has proven to be time and time again the world's #1 investment. With that in mind, next week, BlackRock, VanEck, Fidelity, Vanguard, and many others are expected to be allowed by the SEC to enter the Bitcoin market. Wall Street is entering Bitcoin starting next week. So this is very important news for anyone looking to start investing in Bitcoin. You're going to see the value of Bitcoin explode as billions, if not trillions of dollars enters Bitcoin through the world's largest investors. BlackRock by themselves has over $10 trillion in assets under management. And they are very interested in getting Bitcoin investing going. And this is getting ready to get started next week. So when you see Bitcoin price accelerate here in 2024, it was already doing great without Wall Street, but with Wall Street's money and investment, you're going to see an explosive year here in Bitcoin for the upside, which is great news for you if you are smart enough, if you are savvy enough to invest and beat them to the punch. So, before you do so, you will need to learn how to invest in Bitcoin quickly, safely, and easily. That's where Bitcoin University comes in. So let me go over what you will get when you enter Bitcoin University and use the Bitcoin Owner's Manual from Bitcoin University. With the Bitcoin Owner's Manual, you will have everything that you need to start using Bitcoin fast, and this encompasses everything that we offer here at Bitcoin University. So this is our ultimate education program. This has all of our videos, all of our books and downloads, and it has our most extensive guarantee. Now you're going to see a bunch of amazing videos and lessons, including how to hodl like a pro, how to get Bitcoins without identification, smartphone, or even without the internet. When should you buy and sell Bitcoins? How should you shop with Bitcoins? The top 5 Bitcoin investment strategies, and Bitcoin versus national digital currencies, Bitcoin versus gold, how to use Bitcoin ATMs, Bitcoin's biggest enemies, 7 ways to create a safe and secure Bitcoin wallet. We go over everything here at the Bitcoin Owner's Manual from Bitcoin University. In addition to over 80 videos, 20 hours of video content and lessons that you will receive, you'll also get the Bitcoin University library, which includes several books. The Book of Bitcoin version 2, brand new and updated for 2024. Inside the Book of Bitcoin, you will find the answer to Bitcoin's newest and biggest questions for 2024 and beyond. Questions like, what is a central bank digital currency or a CBDC, and how is it different than Bitcoin? What are the best ways to protect your Bitcoin? Isn't Bitcoin bad for the environment? The question that always comes up. How is Bitcoin price determined? Why banks don't just make their own Bitcoin? Quantum computing can disrupt Bitcoin, right? Is Bitcoin money? We go over what money is and how it applies to Bitcoin. How is Bitcoin like Tesla? Is Bitcoin going to replace the US dollar? And dozens more questions for 2024 and beyond. So this is the Bitcoin University library. This is actually just part of the library. We have some other special surprises and bonuses inside that I know that you will appreciate. And when you get the Bitcoin Owner's Manual, you'll also receive the official Bitcoin University degree, making you a Bachelor of Bitcoin. So you'll be able to print this out, get some diploma paper, go to your office supply store, print this out on 8.5 by 11 inch paper, put it in a frame, and you can use this in your office, in your home. You will be qualified to be a Bachelor of Bitcoin with all of the information, all of the knowledge that you will gain here at Bitcoin University. And everything is guaranteed to satisfy you for the next 60 days. So here is my Bitcoin University guarantee to you. I guarantee to show you how to make your first Bitcoin purchase, whether it's for $100 or for a full Bitcoin. I guarantee to show you why to get started in Bitcoin, how to get started quickly, and how to use Bitcoin easily. And if I fail to do so within the next 60 days, get a full refund. An educated consumer is Bitcoin and Bitcoin University's best customer. So once you invest in this education, you will start to use Bitcoin and you will appreciate all that a Bitcoin can do for you. So why don't you take Bitcoin Owner's Manual out for a 60-day test drive? Use it for the next 60 days. If it does not help you get started, get a full refund. You have nothing to lose and the future of money to gain. Start making the investment of a lifetime. Start by investing in your own education. Learn how to use the 21st century's greatest technology, Bitcoin, here at Bitcoin University with the Bitcoin Owner's Manual. So what are you waiting for? Get your Bitcoin Owner's Manual from Bitcoin University, the online leader in Bitcoin education and training. Get it all, get it now for just one payment of $9.95. You can do this. We can help. I'm Evander Smart, your professor here at Bitcoin University. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to helping you inside of the owner's area. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you inside of Bitcoin University. Take care.